I did eventually pick up the original title too, is I've bought almost every Zelda game that's come out for the mainline systems anyway, but I just can't really bring myself to play through any of them, and I know they're great games. But I'm wondering what you guys think, sort of what your advice would be, or which ones do you think, just from a pure sort of fun factor perspective, which are the ones that are the ones you really need to push through to see the whole thing?
Okay, so this is going to be an unpopular answer, but if you have a lot of free time, play Wind Waker and just enjoy it. Just take it at its own pace. It's a very kind of slow-paced, methodical game with a lot of sailing across the ocean. But, just put aside some time, relax, enjoy sailing. It's a really fun game. It's still a beautiful game because of the visual design. Like, it's held up incredibly well. The combat against enemies is excellent. And the towns are really well developed. Every single NPC in the towns has a different appearance and a different personality and some kind of role to play in the game. It's a game that really doesn't get its due, but it's one of my favorite Zeldas, absolutely. But again, it is kind of a game that you sort of have to take on its own terms, because if you expect it to have the kind of rapid fire pacing of like an Ocarina of Time, you'll be disappointed.
I found that in order to beat a Zelda game, I have to be taking a week-long vacation at my mom's house when it comes out. That's how I get through Zelda. That's how I got through Twilight Princess.
Yeah,
I don't think I'll
that whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also recommend not taking a break, because if you walk away from a Zelda game, you come back and like, where was I? What dungeon was I going to? What was I doing?
Why is this stupid little man telling me to pick up Triforce pieces?
Listen, I mean, obviously, if you haven't played through Ocarina of Time, that is generally considered to be the best modern Zelda. I mean, I think it's debatable if it is or not, but it is.
I would wait for the 3DS version of that, though, because it's going to be better than any version that's come out.
That's true. If you haven't played it, that'd be. And for you, you're like the perfect consumer, because you're not playing a game you've already played 10 times, like most of us.
Right.
But I would also suggest earlier someone we were talking about Minish Cap. It's kind of a weird one for GBA, right? that you could go back and play. It's a good little bite-sized one. But in general,
Link's Awakening, if you can stand the
you won't be able to stomach
the old black and white graphics. I don't know. People dig 8-bit games. They can still handle a Game Boy.
Maybe. But yeah, like one of the problems is like a lot of the modern Zeldas. Like if you were to go and play Twilight Princess, it is kind of a slog. It's really long, actually.
It's very long.
Whereas Wind Waker isn't nearly as long.
It's pretty long.
Really? I thought Wind Waker was like 15 hours or something. It seems short. No?
Wind Waker had more points for me anyway, where I felt like I hit a wall and didn't know.
But there's only 4 dungeons in Wind Waker.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so much outside of the dungeons in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zelda is something you really do need to kind of give yourself some time. And
don't juggle another game with it.
You need to kind of lose yourself in it.
Yeah, and I would say maybe like if you're really serious about experiencing the whole series, you're under no obligation to do so. But if that's something that is important to you, maybe set aside like a week of gaming time or 2 weeks of gaming time for one game every few months. Like, don't try to shotgun them all, because you'll just get sick of the whole series, the whole concept, because it is kind of iterative and repetitive. But if you take one, like maybe 3 or 4 Zelda games in the course of a year, I think that's a pretty good pace, and you'll have enough time to refresh yourself between them.
Yeah, and then
all right, guys.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks for calling in.
I was going to recommend Majora's Mask to him as like a later game to play, because like once you played through
recommend it to this guy.
All right.
Hello, you're on Retronauts Live.
And Shane Bettenhausen would like to tell you to play Majora's Mask.
I would, because it's one of the least played Zeldas, and very few people have actually played and got all the masks. If you get all the masks and turn
hi, who is this? Who is this calling? We're sorry.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that. I'm outside. This is Paul Myers. Paul's on the board.
Hi, Paul Myers. What can we do for you?
So I'd like to ask, do you think the next Zelda Skyward Sword is going to overhaul any of like the regular Zelda tropes, like dungeon progression?
I do.
Like the overworld map?
I do remember them saying after Twilight Princess that the next Zelda would be very different.
And I do remember them saying more recently, don't expect any radical changes from Skyward Sword. So, yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much more of the same.
I agree with you.
I'll say everything we've seen on Skyward Sword has been kind of more of the same. And playing it pretty safe. And I'm actually trying, Zelda being my favorite franchise, and like I'm trying to muster up tons of excitement to get really, really excited for it. And I'm hoping at E3 they show me things that are newer and a little.
You don't think it's going to be out by E3?
No.
Oh man.
Jeremy, I think you'll be buying that game around Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right, because they don't want it to step on Ocarina 3D's 3 feet.
Right. But no, I really do hope. I mean, I don't want a huge shift like Wind Waker necessarily, but I do want some surprises. You know, a few little tweaks here and there to make longtime fans be like, oh, that's completely fresh to me.
Like Majora's Mask?
Like Majora's Mask.
But
Yeah, I'd like to see something more like Majora's Mask. That'd be cool.
yeah, I agree. But you weren't excited by being able to hypnotize the eye by spinning a sword around? I mean, that was...
I mean, in fact, I'm a little
That's
wary.
amazing.
I'm a little wary of being forced to use motion control as
Yeah,
much
me
as
too.
they are
Me too.
putting it in the game. So
At least it's not Connect. All right, thanks for calling in.
Oh, wait.
Oh, my God, what?
I have one question. One more question. Wait, it's
Yes.
Joy. Do you believe in the split timeline theory? And second, do you give a shit?
Hang up on him.
Wait,
no comment.
Are
No.
are we trying to like equivocate and make one timeline between all the links and Hyrule? Like actually,
He just hung
Oh,
up.
yeah. There's no hope. There's no hope of wrapping your brain around any
No.
actual timeline for Zelda. Come on.